Thank you very much for joining us on PM Express. My guest tonight is the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitiwul. There is a lot happening in the economy, and as we know now, the government has taken a decision to go to the IMF. The negotiations begins today, and as government had said, everything is on the table because we need to cut expenditure and bring this economy back on track. I'm curious how this is going to possibly affect our defense and national security budget. Yesterday, we had a conversation on PM Express about the decision to go to the IMF and impact on workers, their wages and compensation. Tonight, let's explore the next big question. What this means for our national security, our defense budget, at a time when we, of course, have been told about a potential terrorist threat. Government recently launched a campaign called the See Something, Say Something campaign. We will ask the Defense Minister what the update is on that particular strategy that was announced. My guest tonight is the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitiwul. Mr. Nitiwul, thank you for your time here on PM Express again.
Thank you, Evans, and we'll meet again.
Yes, the last time...
You are looking good.
Thank you very much. I take the compliment. You also look good. The last time we spoke, we were talking about the See Something, Say Something campaign, and it followed a series of alerts that the national security had done circulating to the public what they believe to be the potential that Ghana could be a target. We'll come to the update on that, but on the back of which we now have a situation in the economy. Security is possibly one of the most costly things for any economy. You have to spend on it. Considering that we are in a sub-region surrounded by a lot of, destabilized economies around us, and, the terrorists all around us, does it worry you that we've taken a decision now to go for a bailout, which in effect actually means we don't have money as a defense minister?
So, Evans, it worries me if at the end of the day, this country were not to have money to give to our security agencies. It worries me greatly if at the end of the day, the resource level in the country is so low that we are on our knees to the extent that any group of persons can come in to run us over. It will worry me a lot. But I think we haven't gotten there yet. So I'm pretty convinced that the president has put, not just convinced, I can assure you that the president has put security as top of the agenda, food and security, as well as housing and all these other things. So we're good to go. But of course, as a country, we have to make sure that our finances look good, the economy looks good, and whatever we have to do as a country, all of us, to ensure that these things are done properly, we should take the necessary steps to do that. We've done it before, and I believe we can do it again. We're in an IMF program in 2016, 2017, and we came out of it with flying colors. We did very, very well. After 2 years, we're out of the program. Of course, we didn't expect all the difficulties that the world is experiencing today, to the extent that half of the world is asking the IMF to assist them. I'm literally saying that, look, we have some difficulties as success. So I know that Ghana is not the only country that is facing these difficulties. It's becoming a global phenomenon. I will literally say that if it were the military, I would literally say that we are at war without fighting. It's a difficult phenomenon across the world. But it's a phase that the world will pass through, and I believe that all countries will take the decisions that are necessary to keep the economy afloat. And if it means going to the IMF with a program so that they can support us, I think that we should do that. Somebody may call it a bailout, but I say that we have an enhanced program that we have decided that, look, it's time to talk to a bank called the IMF so that they can support us with that program. That will give us a lot of credibility in the eyes of investors, people who we talk to. And I believe that in the next 2 years, just as we did before, we should be getting to a stage where we can say, thank you very much, we are good to go. But the current situation that the world faces, it will not be something that will be honest to ourselves if we do not talk to people who can assist us. We should talk to anybody who can assist us. Not just Ghana, but all countries that are facing the same problem. And that's the reason why over 30 countries in Africa are doing the same. Over 90 countries in the world are doing the same. We should not think we are alone. It's a global phenomenon.
You make the point we should talk to people who can assist us. I mean, you sit in cabinet, and so I can ask you this. one of your leading cabinet members, the finance minister, the president himself actually, but the finance minister first, a short few weeks ago, was very categorical that forget about the IMF. We are not going to the IMF because we are a proud people, to quote him. So when did we realize, when did your government realize that you needed help?
So the finance minister said that on the back of all the things he knew at that particular time. Like I said,
this was last month.
It could even be yesterday. Take it from me, it could even be yesterday. Things can change very drastically. If you have friends and investors who had serious confidence in your economy and believe that they will support you along the line, you will say the things that the finance minister said. But if sadly people who you believe that you are very much sure that they had that belief that you work together as friends and as partners, believe that things are not what they will want things to be, and so you should begin to talk to other partners. I don't think that the finance minister should be hanged because of that. He was saying what he believed at that time.
Why shouldn't he? He misled us.
He didn't mislead you. He was telling us exactly what he felt when things were, what he saw at that time. And what are the things? Our friends and the people, our partners, everybody felt that, look, Ghana is a special country. We must do everything and anything to make sure that Ghana works. And he said those things that he said. Because he thought
the job of a finance minister and a government is to project. Is to make projections. We project growth. We project, the budget is full of projections. Project growth,
for sure.
Project deficit levels. The finance minister and your government failed to project.
We did.
That in July, we may have to go to the IMF.
No, we did.
You knew all along that you have to go to the IMF.
No, I'm saying that we did. We did project that these were some of the difficulties that the world is facing.
But
in Ghana
was off the table.
Can I finish? We did project that these were some of the difficulties that Ghana is facing, and we'll face those difficulties. But at the same time, we also knew at that time that we had friends and investors who had a lot of confidence in the Ghana economy. But you and me will not know is that the investors who are investing with other people's funds will look at their situation and say, no, wait a minute, I'm changing my mind. You and me will not have that knowledge. Because remember, they are also investing with other people's funds. They are looking at their own shareholders' views about things. And if in a day's time, which could even be tomorrow, they change their mind and say, look, at the end of the day, invest my money here and there and there. What at all do you expect that finance minister to do? So that's why I said we should not hang the finance minister. We find ourselves in a situation where we believe that it is time to talk to the IMF, which we are a member of, with our enhanced domestic program. And I think that Ghana, we should not make things worse for ourselves. We are not the only people. It's not as if we're in a normal time where, because we may have mismanaged the country, that's why we are running there. Maybe before, in the immediate past, we're just one of the few countries that had difficulties because of the situation we found ourselves in those days. But today, half of the world is going to the IMF. Over 30 countries in Africa is going to, and more will go. Because that's the reason why IMF was formed. That's the reason why the World Bank was formed.
But the president told that we're special people.
We are, and we are still special people. That's how many countries...
The fact, you're almost saying that because 30 people are going, it's okay for Ghana to go.
No, not at all. How many countries in the world have been able to move very quickly from those support programs that like we did under Akufo-Addo? Very few countries. And you can ask anybody, very few countries. So we are a special group of people. That's why I told you...
We are not special after all.
We are.
We are, because less than 3 years after we exited the IMF, we're back to the IMF.
No.
It's an admission of failure.
So it cannot be an admission of failure. It's an admission that we're in difficulties. And that these difficulties
that
are not...
the economy down.
No, those difficulties are not just our difficulties. Those difficulties are difficulties of the world. I mean, you can see what is happening around the countries outside.
You are surrounded by 3 countries.
Yes.
Ivory Coast hasn't gone to the IMF.
Ivory Coast has been in IMF for a long time.
Well, as we speak currently, post-COVID.
They are in the IMF. Go and check your records.
Post-COVID.
They are in the IMF.
They got the IMF support that you got too.
I'm saying they are in the IMF currently. COVID. I'm talking of currently. They are.
We go to Nigeria. Nigeria is dealing with a 15% inflation.
The difficulty...
27%
I say the difficult...
Even Burkina Faso is dealing with a
so listen to me. Listen to me.
of inflation than you are.
So listen to me. Don't compare Ghana to some other countries. Take Nigeria, for example. If you were in Nigeria, you should be laughing to the bank, even though they have difficulties. But if you were in Nigeria, you would be laughing to the bank. In 2019, fuel was hanging between $40 and $50 per barrel, just around that figure. Today, it's over $120 per barrel. Nigeria is a net exporter of fuel. So they are making more money.
Ghana too.
Ghana is not. We are not.
We are not exporter of oil. We are an oil exporting country.
No, we are a net importer of fuel.
Yeah, but we are making money.
No,
from the oil.
I'm saying that we are a net importer. It means that if we were to refine all our oil today that we are using, we have to import more fuel for even our own domestic use, not to talk of making profit. In Nigeria, it's the opposite. They produce far more than they need as a country. So if Nigeria were to refine all their oil, in fact, they would export a lot more. That's why I use the word net exporter.
So that's
why countries like Nigeria...
But we're a crude exporter.
I'm saying that. That's why countries like Nigeria, like Angola, like Saudi Arabia, like Russia, like Kuwait, like all those countries that are huge net exporters of oil, are really enjoying. But if you were to bring the fuel backwards, okay, because if we were to bring the fuel backwards, for example, to maybe say $40, $30, those countries will begin to suffer.
Yeah, but the reality though is that, Mr. Netewo, that we still export crude. Before 2010, we didn't have that as part of our revenue pool. It's part of our revenue pool now. Of course, crude oil prices have gone up. So Ghana definitely is making more now than it did before.
You are still not getting the economics. You are still not getting the economics. But I believe that anybody in...
But the economy is simple, actually.
I'm coming. That's why I believe that anybody in first year university would understand the point I've just made.
You're talking about refined crude that you are bringing into the country.
No, not refined crude. I didn't say that.
But I
said if we were to refine all our crude that we produce, and say Ghanaians and supply them per day, we will still have to import more.
That is not in doubt.
It's because we are a net importer.
That's not in doubt.
In Nigeria, it's the opposite.
That's not in doubt.
So I'm saying to you that you don't compare yourself to Nigeria when it comes to that kind of income.
No, but that's not in doubt. My question to you, all that you said is not in doubt. My question to you is that as we speak currently, as a revenue pool, you are getting more money from your crude exports than before.
Oh, maybe you will say that you may be getting more money, but you are spending more money because you are a net importer. You are spending more money bringing in more fuel.
That's true.
You see the balance?
That's true.
The balance you lose out.
Yes, that's true. But
that's what I'm saying. That on the balance of scale, you lose out.
I'm just doing because I've heard governments say all the time that the problem we are in is Ukraine and COVID. But the Ukraine, for countries like us who export crude, there's a slight positive there, because if you export crude now, you are getting far more money from your crude exports. That's a fact. That's a fact. Than you will get before Ukraine.
No,
and that should mean something for an economy like
if you are a net exporter, then it will not your benefit.
But there's a structure of the economy then. Generally, we definitely import more.
No, you are still not. It's not. If we were Nigeria, for example, which is a net importer, a net exporter, okay, because they produce more fuel than they need, they consume generally. In that case, you'll be laughing to the bank.
Yeah,
but all countries, no, I'm coming, all countries that are net exporters, that means that what we consume and what we produce, in fact, we have to bring more.
That's not
you lose. You are going to lose out. So remember something. We needed, in 2019, we needed, say, $50 to bring in a barrel of crude. Okay, the extra that we will bring.
In fact, let me be more specific for you. Currently, we need $400 million to bring in.
So let's take the figures.
Yeah. Right? The Bank of Ghana says we can't give the BDCs all the money because obviously currency shortfall, the dollar shortfall. So we can only give you $100 million. That definitely is going to be a problem. Reason why government says we're going to the IMF for a balance of payment support. So that's not in doubt. But let's come back to your
no, but you use the figures, and that's why I just made that allusion to you that if you were using $100 million 2019, 2018, 2019, today we're using close to $400 million. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So the balance of $300 million, you have to go and look for that money from somewhere. So you are losing out. Even though the price of crude may be going up, but when you take the scale of things, you are losing out.
Away from the oil.
Have you understood that?
No,
and do you agree with me?
It's not, I don't have to agree with you. I mean, there are facts on the thing.
But you should agree with me that even though crude we produce a little bit of crude, and so we'll sell and appear to get more, the amount of money we need to go and bring more crude to consume is much higher.
Yeah,
and so on the balance of things, we lose out.
I just gave you the actual number, so that tells a story.
But I'm saying that on the balance of things, we are losing out.
But if you want to probe that further, the problem there also comes back to the economic management. Because if you strip it all off, it comes back to our failure to build enough into the structure you promised us. You're changing this economy when you came to power. From a gorgeous big economy to one that is based on export production. So you introduce one district, one factory. We are back to this day when, because of the amount of things we import in this country, our foreign reserves are depleting. And so government says, IMF, we're on our knees with our foreign reserves, so give us support.
Government did not say that.
You are on your knees.
No, government did not say we are on our knees.
But
so government did not go begging to say we are on our knees.
But you are begging the IMF for money.
No, it's not. It's not true.
So what are you asking the IMF
I say that the government has said that we have an enhanced program, give us support, which is normal, and that's our right. Excuse me, that's our right to go. We can decide to go or not to go.
You can't decide to go. You don't have a choice.
Can I finish? It's the decision of the country to go
or not to go. Of your government to go.
I'm saying that you can make that decision and you have the repercussions or not. The consequences are on you. Government could have decided that we will not go, and the consequences will be on us.
You can't make that decision.
You are not getting what I'm trying to say. It is the government's decision. It's not the IMF forcing us. That's all I'm trying to say. There are two people, government and IMF. It's the government that says, look, at this point, we have an enhanced program. We're going to go to IMF for support. All I say to you, which you are correct, is that we promised to move this country from a gorgeous-back economy to an economy that at least you can be proud of. Yeah. Production,
one.
Production, and not just consuming. Didn't we start the process?
You failed in that.
No.
5 years, 6 years into it.
You see, that's the mistake we are making. The mistake is as if we didn't start. Have you not heard?
It's not about starting.
Have you not heard or seen that we've started over 160 factories?
You didn't promise us that you would start. You promised that you would deliver. Isn't that what you promised us?
Yes.
Yeah, so you failed to deliver.
Why are you saying we failed to deliver?
Because as we speak, you've gone to the IMF. If you have delivered, we wouldn't need the IMF. Because you know why? We will be producing enough to export that our foreign exchange reserves will not be hit.
You're just assuming that, and I think that's an assumption that you should not, that the moment you put up a factory today and you are building all these factories over a period of 6 years, suddenly everything will be okay. It's not like that.
But that was not my promise.
No.
That was your promise.
Can I finish? Our promise was that we're going to move the economy from a gorgeous-back economy, and we have started doing that.
But that's my point. You didn't
we may not be there yet. Can I finish? We may not be, let me finish. We may not be there yet, but give it to us that we do not fold our hands. We have over 180 factories either that have been completed or are on the verge of completion or have started. That's a fact. Give it to us. So we are moving from just consumption to production, and it's factories, factory hands, it's factories that you need. That is being done. Also, you know that we said that we're investing in 5 major crops: the cocoa, cashew nut, palm, coffee, and I think shea nut. And you know that we have also started that program. So it is not as if we just folded our hands and we are there. 3, we said that it will be very difficult to move things from the market centers, from the farm gates to the market centers. Go and see the massive investments in the road infrastructure and railway to be able to get these things to be done. We also said that, look, at the end of the day, you need to give the investor an environment, security-wise. Today, we are delivering all this. Ghana is the safest country in West Africa.
I want to come to that because part of the reason why
I'm coming, and that is a fact. So we are delivering on everything that we have tried. We may not have completed it. We may not have completed it 100%, but we have started and we are delivering it. Give us the opportunity and you see whether at the end of the day we'll deliver.
You already have the opportunity.
We are doing it.
Let me ask you. I'm interested. Last week when the statement was issued that we're going to the IMF, it was communicated that the decision was taken at the cabinet meeting. I believe that you were in this cabinet meeting. I mean, when it came to a decision, and from the statement, it said all the cabinet ministers endorsed it. When it came to it and your opinion was asked, should we go? And I believe you obviously said yes. How did you feel thinking, goodness me, we are actually going to tell the people of Ghana that we are going to the IMF? In that meeting, just walk me through your emotions when it became obvious that you and your colleagues have to.
So you are not running a country on emotions. You can't run a country on emotions. You don't take a decision to run a country on emotions. Neither will you say, because of my personal pride, I'm going to run a country on my personal pride. No. You run a country based on facts and figures and the evidence available to you. The facts as we have today is that because of the difficulties the world is facing, we are earning less than we are spending. And if you put all our revenues together, it's not enough for us as a country to be able to do what we have got to do as a country. There's a window of opportunity for all the countries of the world that are facing similar problems to do. And that window of opportunity is to talk to people who the world thinks has some bit of credibility, like the IMF. That when you begin to have a program with them, investors who you need as a country will begin to have confidence in your economy. And I don't think that there is any president who put in the shoes that Akufo-Addo finds himself today, or this government finds himself today, will do a different thing altogether. I don't believe, and take it from me, there is no president who, faced with the difficulties that we have faced, would have done something extraordinary. No. Let's be frank with ourselves. People can do all the politics they want to do, and they have the right to do all the politics they want to do. But the fact of the matter is that countries, just because of bread, are having difficulties and rioting. Countries, because of fuel, like Sri Lanka, are virtually collapsing. It's not just about Ghana. The world is changing. And if you are not a lucky government, look at what is happening in the UK today. Look at what is happening in the US today. Look at what is happening in Germany today. Look at what is happening in France today. Virtually everybody, even the big boys, are facing the same problem. They've borrowed trillions. We can sit today and say that during the COVID we should have spent less. But you and me did not know that this is how COVID will turn out.
But you know, Mr. Neto, everything you said are factually correct. The world is in a difficult place. You know why it's become a big deal now going to the IMF?
Yeah.
It's because of the way you demonized an IMF program. Do you accept, at least now, looking back, that your team, your government, the president, made a mistake in the way you approached the last time you went to the IMF, when the criticism you leveled at the opposition? Do you at least are prepared to admit that your approach to the IMF and the way you demonized it was wrong?
Evans, if our government did not face the problems the world is facing, okay, and we ran the economy down.
But the economy has been run down.
I'm coming. We ran the economy down like what happened in 2013, 2014. I would have criticized this government, even as a member.
You wouldn't.
I will.
You wouldn't.
Take it from me.
You are the defense
but you know,
minister. You wouldn't.
You
Nobody will believe that you would.
You know me when I was a deputy. I was a deputy.
Yes, I know you to speak your mind.
I will speak my mind.
Then you were, a deputy minority leader.
No. The president knows me very well. He knows that I will speak my mind.
Maybe
even
in
openly.
cabinet meetings,
no,
not
even,
publicly.
Even openly, I will do that. If it demands, I will do that.
But
I've told you. And the caveat I gave is that the difficulties that the world is facing today, supply chain has cut off.
I don't dispute that. Those are facts.
Can I finish? Supply chain has cut off to the extent that in 2019, a 40-footer container was between $2,000 and $2,500. That same 40-footer container is now between $8,500 to $10,000, depending on the goods and the weight. Supply chain, difficulty everywhere. I'm saying that if the world were not facing these difficulties, it was just about we mismanaging the economy, and we ran to IMF, I would have criticized the government.
But my question...
That is the difficulty I have with your question. I'm coming.
My question has nothing to do with mismanagement. We'll come to how you manage the economy. We'll come to that. My question to you is simply, the way you demonize the IMF is what has made this decision one that has become
I'll be very surprised if your conclusion is that we demonized IMF. We demonized the decision to go to IMF based on the fact that there was mismanagement.
But you have also mismanaged this
It's not
economy.
true. It's not like that.
Greatly.
So can you compare the two situations? We have not.
You have.
We have not.
So the World Bank country director.
I'm saying that, can I finish? We have.
This is the evidence.
I'm saying that we have not. And the fact is that we have not.
The World Bank country director was very clear recently when he spoke
Which
to
country
us.
does he come from?
Well, my question.
No.
He was very clear.
No, wait.
That even before COVID,
I'm saying that which country?
You were in difficulty.
It's not true.
Economy. You dispute
year? I dispute greatly.
2019. You dispute 2019. The World Bank country
What was the
director.
growth rate in Ghana at that time?
You dispute the World Bank country director.
Let's take the indices. What was the growth rate at that time? In 2019. What was the interest rate in 2019? What was the T-bill rate in 2019? What was the CD depreciation in 2019? Come on. Give us some bit of credit.
The CD has been depreciating for quite
I talk of 2019, just before COVID.
Yeah, I mean, let me give you one fact that will make the point.
Make the point.
We're talking about last year, 2021. If you look at the reason why you're going to the IMF, according to government, is because you're going for balance of payment support. Your balance of payment were in the red, in 430 million, red, as of last year. And consistently today, we're talking about over 900 million red.
So first of all,
that clearly tells you it's systematic depreciation. That's a key reason why you're going.
Evans, it is not
and
true.
You have run that thing down.
It is not true.
So now,
it's not true that in 2021 our balance of payments were in red.
It's fact. It's fact. It's Bank of Ghana fact.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
You can't argue with fact.
Can I finish?
It's fact.
Evans, it's not true.
That's fact.
Can I finish? Go back and check.
I repeat, 430 million.
I'm saying that go back and check.
In the red.
I'm saying go back and check. But I still go back to the statement you made.
But that's a fact.
That
is an admission. It's a clear fact of mismanagement.
I'm just saying to you that it's not true and leave it there. And let me go back.
But it's not true. And my point is, they're facts and their opinions. I'm quoting to you a Bank of Ghana data that says 430 red, now 900 million plus red. The reason why your government says we're going to the IMF for balance of payment support, you run the balance of payment down.
You think
that's
that
mismanagement?
The government never said that they were going for balance of payment support only. You keep dragging on that point. And I keep saying it's not true.
Statement.
Can I finish? And I keep saying that it's not true. There are several reasons the government gave.
But that's a statement. That's the only reason given in the statement signed by Kojo, Opon and Nkrumah. So, balance of payment support.
Let me give you the reasons so that your listeners are not misled.
By the statement that was issued by the Information Minister?
Can I finish? Let me give you the reason so that your statement, I was in cabinet, let me give you so that your listeners are not misled.
So this is pure from cabinet. I will listen to that.
So one, the government is going with an enhanced program for support with the World Bank because of one, the difficulties we are facing with import, the income, that is the revenues vis-a-vis expenditure. Because when you add up the core expenditure items for government, that is amortization and interest, plus personal emolument and statutory funds, the figures are not too good. Okay. So, two, government has difficulty or is shut off from us going to the market, which was available to, has been available to every government, especially even when we came to go to the market every year to raise funds to support government. We don't have that. We had our traditional allies, when I say our friends, investors, who were giving us all this backup. Sadly, a month ago, they decided, no, give me a second, we will not be able to buy your bonds any longer. We will not be able to, that is not also available to us. So government says, look, we have developed this enhanced program that we believe it is time to go to the IMF and talk to them so that at least that credibility they are looking for so that we can deal with them will be there. So as part of the resources we will get is for balance of payment support and other development activities of government. So when you make it look as if it was just one single item, that's my disagreement with you.
The information minister issued a statement.
Can I finish? I'll go back and look at the statement he issued. I read it several times. I'll go back and look at it again. But I'm just saying that is not just that alone. And I've explained to you what government is going to do with it and why government had to go. and I want your listeners to know. But I still go back to the point that if you go to 2019, that statement by the World Bank country director is not true. So that your listeners will know that it's not true. And I gave you all the facts as it is. We entered into 2020 and under the COVID, and the world started having problems, including Ghana. Remember that we spent on cleaning up the banks. Remember that we are paying this energy over $1 billion every year on what we call excess capacity charges. And we didn't sign those contracts. You know that. We didn't sign them. I would not have encouraged any president to sign such contracts, but they were bequeathed on us, and we are a government. We have to do. Even the loans they are accusing us that we are paying, go and check how much of our loans we are repaying. It's largely what the NDC borrowed that we have to repay back, especially the external loans. You know that for a fact that those loans the NDC pick are those that we are repaying back. Of course, we take the liabilities and the profits,
the
assets of any government. And so we inherited their liabilities, we inherited their assets. But they should not just look at only the liabilities and say, it is the government, it's the MPP government. It's not true. It's not like that. All I say to you is that going to the IMF is to make sure that our enhanced program that we have, domestic program we have, we get credibility. There are two different things. When you go for a bailout is totally different. Like when Argentina went for a bailout, you are down, you have nowhere to turn, things are bad that you cannot even manage your economy.
You are down, things are bad, you have nowhere to turn.
It's not true.
Okay.
I've always told you that before.
I want to take a quick break. When I return, Dominic Nitiwo will still be my guest, and I want to ask him. He talks about government's homegrown program. I remember that the finance minister made a series of announcements, a part of the government's own internal efforts to cut expenditure and so that we can recover. All ministries were supposed to make cuts. I think it was 30% in expenditure that was announced. I wonder how that has affected his ministry, the defense budget, for example, and how they operate currently. Everybody has to be austere now. And I know that sometimes they say for defense and security, but don't touch it. So I'm curious how he's managing when everybody else around him is tightening its belt as a government. And then, of course, you will share with me the update on the See Something, Say Something campaign. Dominic Nitiwo, my guest on PM Express. Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwo is still my guest. And you know, government today has begun negotiations with the IMF. If you are with the IMF, one of the key things you know will happen is that you have to be austere. You cannot be spending and living beyond your means as a government. And already, even before the IMF came in, the government had announced serious cuts to its expenditure. And he's the defense minister. He's a senior member of this security architecture of Ghana. And I'm curious, Mr. Nitiwo, finance minister before the IMF came into the picture already announced serious cuts to expenditure and spending. Everybody had to live in their means. Every ministry had to cut something. I wonder, how has that affected you?
It's affected us in the fact that programs that maybe you want to do, especially programs that for the security, you may not be able to get all the resources that you need because everybody has to at least
do you have any specific examples?
I'll give you that. Expect that you should do this kind of thing. But you see, when you have an enhanced program like ensuring that your balance of payments are right, you ensure that growth is, you increase growth, you ensure that you cut expenditure, you ensure that the wasteful expenditure is cut off from it. You ensure that at the end of the day, there's credibility within the governance and economic system. All these programs put together, at the end, is geared to one thing: keeping the nation together and ensuring that by a certain time frame, the outlook of the country becomes positive. All sectors, including that of the security, must know that they must lower the expectation a little bit. Programs that can be postponed, you have to. Programs that you believe that you can do your work without, you have to. All ministers must be on their feet. So, for example, you have to make sure that wasteful expenditure is cut off and everything is being done. But there's some of the expenditure that we have to do to ensure that we save our country. You and me, or this average Ghanaian, wants to wake up knowing that the country is safe. He has a country that he can move freely. So those operational expenditure will still have to go ahead as a country. You know, Operation Calm Life, Operation Kundagu, Operation Cow Leg, Operation Cow Feed. If there's a problem in a particular place, you cannot say soldiers or police should not go. You have to find money along the line to go. You cannot say you're not going to feed soldiers. You have to feed them. We feed 12,000 soldiers on a daily basis. You have to feed them because they are all spread around different places. Same with police, same with fire service. If there's a fire burning in Kantamanto, you cannot say fire service must not go. They must get fuel and they must be able to move. There must be water, there must be a fire hydrant, all these kind of things that need to be done, they have to be done. But there are a lot of programs, for example, what we use our goods and services for, maybe painting of this ministry, or trying to do little things, or maybe buying a lot of internet that you may not need too much, or maybe making a lot of phone calls that you should not make. You have to cut down a lot of those kind of things. That's what I'm trying to say, that the non-essential things, we all have to cut down, including the security agencies, including the security ministries. Things are not very normal. But I believe, like I said, it's a phase. I believe that Ghana, the sort of managers of the economy we saw, we went into that hole before. We came out in 2 years. I believe we're going to come out in 2 years again or less.
That's very ambitious.
It's not ambitious. I'm being very frank with you.
But you know why that is ambitious?
Okay.
Because you make 2015, 2014, you say they didn't have COVID and they didn't have Ukraine. You have COVID, you have Ukraine.
We do.
I mean, so that is a variable that would affect how long this is going to take.
So, for example, we largely import our fertilizer and bread from Ukraine and Russia. The government has told the agriculture minister, go out there and let Ghanaians plant and eat what they produce, so that it lessens the amount of food that we're going to produce, vegetable oil, all these kind of things. Check the things that have made inflation high. Vegetable oil is top, water and a few other things, because the prices keep going up. So just like what happened within the COVID time, when we hit with COVID, the government went overdrive to convince Ghanaians to produce what will prevent COVID from coming. And we produce all manner of things. I do believe that the agriculture minister and all those who need to do those things will go out there and convince Ghanaians that, look, instead of waiting for Thai rice to come and you eat, let's take local rice and let's eat. Let's eat the yam, let's eat the cocoa yam, let's eat the cassava, let's eat all the things that we produce here. Instead of tiling your house, and you don't even have small space to plant tomato, why don't you plant just 3 or 4 seedlings of tomatoes so that you can get your tomatoes from your house? These are things that is what I'm trying to talk about. The young men, all of us, everybody, the little space we get, why don't I plant a small maize farm so that I can harvest and eat myself, like this Operation Feed Yourself in those days, that in the 70s and that kind of stuff. That type of things will start coming. Because look, like I said, we are in a war with that fighting. The world is not the same world 3 years ago.
Let me ask you this, since of course you're the defense minister. In the midst of the crisis we are in, now we've decided to go to the IMF. We know that your program will come with cuts. You've just talked about it, but we know from history the IMF will say, you know, with your wage bill, can we control it? I mean, the workers, since the whole of yesterday, have been agitating. This is human security. The teachers are on strike. Do you worry that this will provide fuel for instability?
It's a big worry for us to ensure, but it's also a challenge for us that we have to do our work well. It's a worry and a challenge to us. And maybe for some reason the government has put some of us where we are to do that work. Like I said, we have to be on our feet. It's our work to ensure that there's no instability. It's our work to ensure that terrorists don't come into the country. It's our work to ensure that the armed forces and the police service and all the security agencies do their work efficiently. It's our work to ensure that the country remains safe.
How are you doing that in the midst of all the economic challenges? I mean, teachers, unprecedented, all 4 of them withdrawn their service. Yesterday, the senior staff of the university, UTAG, TUC, all of them telling you. In fact, yesterday on my show, Ghana Medical Association also says they also want 20%. I mean, everything seems to be hitting you at the same time. How are you managing to ensure that that doesn't lead to some insecurity situation? I know the C word doesn't like to be used, but a coup has been mentioned in the past. People are afraid that it may degenerate into an instability. How are you dealing with that?
So as defense minister, all our appeal to all these bodies is to say that we've taken the decision to take our program to the IMF. They should give government some bit of time and let's negotiate. They should give government some bit of time and let's talk together. This idea of, oh, I'm going to go on strike, I'm going to do this. The government has all the means, they will give it to you. This government has shown very good faith to everybody that if they have the means, they will do it. They've never disrespected workers. They've never shouted on workers. They've negotiated with workers on good faith. I plead with them that they should give government the opportunity to negotiate with them in good faith. Can you imagine you are leading an IMF team and workers are asking for maybe between 6 to 8 billion extra income or extra expenditure on the budget? It makes your work very, very difficult. I just plead that, yes, things are difficult. We all accept. It's not the fault of a worker that maybe if he was earning 3,000 Ghana cedi yesterday, that 3,000 may buy less things. But like I said, let's plead with everybody to give government the opportunity to negotiate very well with them. But I really, really worry that whatever we do, we should look at our kids and ensure that we don't leave a country where tomorrow those kids will find Ghana a different place. We've managed ourselves very well up to now. We will continue to do whatever we have to do. And I'll give Ghanaians a promise. We'll continue to do whatever we have to do to keep this country very safe. Extremely very, very safe. But it will also depend on how they help us, including all of us, how we behave, what we do, what we eat, our demands, our taste, everything. That will make what we are. Trust me, I said, we are at a wartime without fighting ourselves.
And the war is what?
The economic war we are fighting. And that economic war is a war that we have to take seriously. We may not have the air conditions that we used to have if we were in a war. We may not have the tar roads that we used to have if we were in a war. You may not even have the water that you used to have before if you were in a war situation. You may not even have the sort of even air, the clean air you used to breathe if you are in a war situation. All I'm trying to say is that the difficulties that the world face, all of us, not just anybody, all of us, will have to tighten our belt a little bit. And I'm happy the president has given ministers a stern warning. Remember, you are leading people. Go out there and be a servant.
How are you tightening your belt, Dominic Nitiwol? So we've talked about your ministry, but Dominic Nitiwol as a minister, how are you tightening your belt?
I have to tighten my belt because I have to live within my means.
How?
I'm living within my means. My salary has been reduced by 30% because of the promise that
So you've been taking 30% less salary?
Of course.
Since
I have to take 30% since the announcement was made. And so I now know, and my wife knows that, look, Nitiwol's salary has been reduced. So if you are eating 3 eggs a day, you eat half an egg. It's as simple as that, or you don't eat at all.
That is an anecdote, it's not real, right? You're not reducing the amount of food you're eating now.
Can I finish? It is real. I'm a Catholic, and I will not go out there and be lying to anybody.
So you reduce the amount of food you eat?
It's not just reducing the amount of food you eat. The luxuries that maybe I believe I could get for myself.
What luxury have you let go?
I'm saying that the luxuries that I believe I could get, I have to make sure that
I want an example.
So, for example, like I said, I use more public means than before.
What public means? What's that?
I'm coming. I use more public means than before. I use more car to travel to the north. On Saturday, I drove the north myself.
Okay. So you didn't use your driver?
Just myself and my driver. I drove myself because I need to. We all have to cut down.
But you're driving your state-issued vehicle?
No.
You're driving your own personal vehicle?
I bought, yes.
Oh, you bought your own fuel?
Of course.
So you're buying your own fuel?
I have to. For a long time, I don't use state fuel. Except maybe...
But they give you state, don't they?
Yes. The way the defense ministry is structured, if I want fuel, I can go to Bemakam and get fuel. Outside my working hours, I don't have the means to use state fuel because I don't get coupons like any other minister. Okay. I don't get coupons like any other minister. So whether I'm in my constituency, I'm in Tamale, I'm in Takoradi, anywhere, I cannot use state fuel. State has never provided me with utilities. No, ever since I became a minister, I've never,
So you're paying your own electricity?
My own electricity,
your own water?
My own water. My own, everything, gas, everything, I pay.
Gas?
No, the
gas,
for your cooking and everything.
You pay yourself?
I pay myself. I've never, since I became a minister, the state has never paid any of these things for me at all. Because I live in my own house. And for you who is living in your house, and I know that close to about 70% of the ministers of Akufo-Addo are living in their own houses. That's how come the state is not looking after them. And because for the state to look after you, first you have to be living in a state bungalow. If you are living in your own house, then you have to bring the bills to the ministry to come and reclaim.
Do you send your bills?
I don't. For me, it's a hassle. It's a waste of time. First, the money is not even there. So why should I do that? I live my own means.
According to the last emolument committee, a cabinet minister is earning slightly above 30,000 cedis. So 30% cut in that.
You see, the difficulty with me,
you are in the 20s or just
no, it's not. You see, when you reach a certain salary bracket, you fall in a certain tax bracket. So you actually you pay more taxes, so you might even earn less. But leave that aside. The difficulty is that if you go and ask a typical member of parliament his salary, he may not know, unless he goes to look at his pay slip.
Because he has a lot of things that will go out of it.
You see,
so you have loans to pay?
Everybody, go and check my pay slip. We're all paying loans. We're all paying loans. So because of that, unless I go and look at my pay slip, I may not be able to, because this bank is picking, this bank is picking, this institution is picking, this is picking, this is picking. Because you have to survive. You have decided to be a member of parliament, and you have to go and campaign, and you need money. So you go out there and pick a loan. I have a car loan that I picked and bought a car. And they are taking that loan from my salary. So a typical member of parliament may not have more than 3,000 to 4,000 Ghana cedi take home. That's why I don't want to.
Well, we have no sympathies for you.
I understand.
Yes.
And you are right.
You made the decision to
I know.
go.
I made the decision to go there, so I cannot blame anybody.
4,000 cedi is what most teachers can guarantee.
You are still not getting what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying.
I'm saying that if you and me were to land in Bimbala today, or say Aboblochi, or say Kumasi, the potential that somebody will come to me and ask for help will be bigger than yours.
Absolutely.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
That the 4,000 today, if I were to pick that 4,000 and go, before the end of the day, maybe that money is finished. Or maybe because I use maybe because at the end of the month, week, it may finish, but yours may not. That's the difference.
I mean, you've talked about the cuts. You talked about what government and the ministers are doing to show that they also taking their fair share of the burden.
A lot.
Do you reckon that the government is doing enough on the executive side to cut waste and to show to the Ghanaian people, the teachers who are on strike, that we are in this with you and we are also going to take a hit? I know you say 30%, but could there be more? In politics, there's nothing called never. So if there are ways that the government can improve on cutting, we should do it. And so I'm not able to say that we have done enough or we haven't done enough. All I say, the government has done a lot. It may not be enough, it may be enough, but I can say for a fact that the government has done a lot. Ministers have taken a lot of cuts, ministers have taken a lot of sacrifices. Like I said to you, close to 70% of ministers of Akufo-Addo, especially the cabinet ministers that I know, they don't stay in government bungalows. They don't use government fuel. They don't do that. All the security ministers, we don't use coupons, for example. And so there are a lot of cuts that are I mean, on this subject, I need to ask you, because the president's safety is your responsibility. An accusation against him that recently he's still using luxury jets. No, it's not true. When is the last time you saw the president using a luxury jet? According to Samuel Kudeta Blakwa, he recently, when he traveled, when the airports were shut, he had to fly a luxury. He took the most luxurious option. It's not a true story. I spoke to him, even at Blakwa, I asked him, I spoke to him recently, I think 2 or 3 days ago, and I told him 1 or 2 things which I don't want to repeat on air. But trust me, this president has done whatever every president has always done. Most presidents, the president who handed over to this president, anytime the presidential jet was not available, who is President Mahama, used Vista Jets, Global Dream Express. That's why you chartered it. Yes, chartered it. The luxury version. I'm saying the Global Express. I don't know what you mean by luxury. What do you mean by luxury? Well, the pictures we've seen. But who told you that these are the pictures? Top of the ring luxury. Are you disputing that these pictures? Those pictures. Oh, please ignore. They are not. Ignore those pictures. The government hasn't denied that. I've said it. Maybe you're not listening. Those pictures, and I was with him on your platform, and I said those pictures were not true.
with him, you.
I remember.
So I'm even surprised you are saying the same thing.
So recently what he tried, he didn't fly the private luxury jet chartered.
But I'm saying that the president flew on a jet because at that time it was impossible to move from Belgium to Rwanda at the particular time that he was needed, because every president was to arrive at a particular time, and the meeting was, the flights that he was were cancelled. When they were available in Ghana, he used the accusation that he used the most expensive option. It's not true. I've said that before. It's not true.
So the type he used wasn't the most expensive option?
No, at all. So what the type that is available, which is a normal type that everybody can go for, is what he used. And Eugene put up the statement and said it. So I don't think that is a fact. And like I said before, when presidents, the safety of the president is the responsibility of defense, national security, and interior. It is, if you cannot even defend your president, how are you going to defend your citizens? If you cannot defend your citizens, how can you defend the president? So it's our duty to defend everybody. Yes. All I can say to you is that all of us, including the president, all of us, we are very mindful of the situation we find ourselves. We are very, very mindful of that situation. And that confidence that we need to push to Ghanaians, to inspire Ghanaians, to encourage them so that we can work together to bring ourselves from where we are to a better Ghana. That's all we are trying to do. Okay, and then just before we wrap up, and extremely briefly, an opportunity to get the Ghanaians on your side. Many Ghanaians are upset, rightfully, where we are as a country. There's a call that says the first thing government needs to do is to admit, but at least in humility, apologize to us that we're not where we want to be. Is the government ready at least to render an apology to Ghanaians? First of all, I don't know about that. I don't know whether that is true that Ghanaians have called. Yeah. I can dispute that for a fact. I don't know. I don't know about that.
Do you believe?
Are you the one asking that question?
I'm asking that question. Do you believe it's right, before you even start this conversation, to say we are not happy where we are, we are sorry, but we get out of it? At least we apologize. But
I have told you that I'm not happy where we are.
Yeah, but that's not an apology.
I'm coming. The president has told all of us that he's not happy where we are.
But will you apologize on the back of that?
Can I finish? Can I finish? All of us have said that we are not happy where we are, and we think that we should not be where we are. Are we going to apologize because we have found ourselves where the global economy has created a big problem? Or we are going to apologize because we have admitted that we have messed up the economy? What are you asking me to say?
Are you apologizing? Won't you apologize you've messed up the economy?
We have not. I've told you that. Told you that with all genuineness in our minds, we have not deliberately come out to say we are messing up the economy. No.
Okay. That's Dominic Nitiwo. He is a defense minister. The negotiations with the IMF has started. It's going to take some time, but he says they have a program. Let's see what the IMF's verdict is on that program. Enjoy the rest of the evening.